Did ferocious Sicilian mafia boss Salvatore Toto Riina really order the murder of Rudy Giuliani, the future mayor of New York City? Let's check it out. I'm James Gladwish and welcome to OC Shorts, bringing you detailed historical snapshots of the American Mafia and other organised crime. Feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Today, we are going to take a quick look at the time feared mafia boss Toto Riina allegedly ordered the murder of the future mayor of New York City. Rosario Naimo, a powerful Sicilian mobster, was arrested in Palermo, Sicily in 2010, after 15 years on the run. Shortly after his arrest, he started to cooperate with the authorities. Before we watch part of his testimony on his life in the mafia, here's a little bit of information about Rosario Naimo. Born in 1945, Rosario Naimo, also known as Ceruzzo, was inducted into the Sicilian Mafia in 1965. He moved to the United States in 1968. He would become a prominent figure in international narcotics smuggling, and was often referred to as the king of drug trafficking. Later, he would become powerful Sicilian mafia boss Toto Riina's link to the US crime families. Interestingly, some sources state that Rosario Naimo was most closely affiliated with the Lucchese crime family. Some sources state that Rosario Naimo was essentially the head of the Sicilian Mafia in the United States. Naimo was close with Toto Riina, and other mafiosi turned informant would refer to him as Riina's alter ego in America. Rosario Naimo became such an influential figure in the United States that Toto Riina himself once said that Naimo was more powerful than the President of the United States. In 1995, Rosario Naimo was charged with international drug trafficking and sentenced to 19 years in prison in Sicily. However, he went on the run until he was captured by chance 15 years later in 2010. Rosario Naimo had been walking in Palermo when he fell ill and collapsed to the floor. When two people came over to help him, he whispered in their ears, "I'll put 2,000 euros in your pocket if you take me to the hospital, and we won't say anything to anyone." But 10 minutes later, he was arrested. The 65-year-old Rosario Naimo soon started cooperating with the authorities and would testify that his boss, the greatly feared Salvatore Toto Riina, had ordered the murder of John Gotti, as I've covered in a previous video. In addition, Rosario Naimo would testify that Toto Riina also ordered the murder of Rudy Giuliani, who was then a US prosecutor, who had waged a war against the mafia. Now, let's take a quick look at Rosario Naimo's testimony regarding this situation. The subtitles are at the bottom of the screen.
Il discorso in sospeso. In sostanza poi questo attentato a John Gotti fu fatto o no?
No.
Vabbè. Prego, Pubblimestre.
Senta, per ricordo, le leggo una cosa che ha dichiarato nel verbale del 23 luglio del 2020. Mi disse di uccidere John Gotti, parla di Riina chiaramente, e di non dirlo a nessuno. Mi disse, virgolette, negalo pure con me, anzi domandami chi è stato. Lo conferma questo?
Sì, questo, ce l'ho finito, l'ho detto adesso. Dice tu fai finta, anzi chiede agli altri chi è stato. Sì, esatto.
Questo era un modo di fare di Riina, diciamo, era così. Lui non...
Era la sua cosa da fare. Lui aveva pure chiesto di ammazzare il procuratore generale da allora, Rudolph Giuliani, e io proprio questa volta mi incazzai, mi arrabbiai serio e ci disse con le persone che aveva mandato in America con questo mandato, io disse fatevi i fatti vostri che questo fatto non si fa. Dice ma se signorina me la spiego io, e di fatto poi sono sceso a Palermo per dirgli al signor Riina che questo fatto non si faceva e non si è fatto. Si è rimasto male ma non si è fatto. E questa è storia, non solo verità, questa è storia.
So, as we can see from the testimony, according to Rosario Naimo, Toto Riina not only ordered the murder of Rudy Giuliani, but he also actually dispatched men to carry out the hit. Rosario Naimo states that he stepped in and told the hit team to stand down, and that he would talk sense to Toto Riina. According to Naimo, when he told Riina that he had stopped the hit on Giuliani, Riina was not happy, but evidently didn't pursue the matter further. The order from Riina to kill John Gotti was after John Gotti had orchestrated the murder of Paul Castellano. Castellano and Riina had built up a relationship over the years, and his murder had angered the feared Sicilian Mafia boss. But why would Toto Riina also order the murder of Rudy Giuliani, a prosecutor in another country? As is famously known, then US prosecutor Rudy Giuliani had gone after the administration of the 5 New York families, culminating in the famous commission trial in 1986 that had the hierarchy of 3 of the 5 New York crime families sentenced to 100 years in prison each. Perhaps Rudy Giuliani targeting the New York Commission had an adverse impact on Toto Riina's business dealings with the United States Mafia. Or perhaps Salvatore Riina was just flexing his power and showing that he can get to anyone. The Mafia in America tended to have a rule that they would not order hits on members of law enforcement or the authorities, due to the amount of heat that it would bring down on them. In the mid-1930s, powerful mobster Dutch Schultz had allegedly wanted to kill US prosecutor Thomas Dewey, who was going after him. The senior figures of organised crime in New York at the time thought that this was a bad idea. And so, Charlie Luciano and others ordered the murder of Dutch Schultz. And on October the 23rd, 1935, Dutch Schultz was shot whilst in the Palace Chop House in Newark, and he died the next day. Some sources state that another reason that Luciano and others wanted Schultz dead was so they could take over his lucrative rackets. Over in Italy, however, the Sicilian Mafia had no problem killing law enforcement, politicians and judges, as demonstrated in the 1992 assassination of Judge Giovanni Falcone, who was blown up on the orders of Toto Riina. Just one example of many high-profile assassinations of government figures that the Sicilian Mafia has been responsible for. In the comments below, I would love to hear your thoughts as to why Salvatore Toto Riina would order the murder of US prosecutor and future mayor of New York City, Rudy Giuliani. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching.